I guess what? Do you guys know that when you smile,
The world smiles with you.
you look younger? But when you're angry,
Recording in progress.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Greetings to each and every one of us. We are honored to be here again once more this beautiful Tuesday. And we are starting our webinar now. It's a Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. This is Deep Dive on Passive, one of the unpassive platforms, and we're starting our webinar now with a beautiful tune, In It to Win It, by one of our global ambassadors, Lerato Shadare. And Dr. Derek is going to play that for us. And please, I urge you to pay special attention to the nonverbal communication of the music as it plays along. Thank you so much, and over to you, Dr. Derek.
Your next stop is on passive.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Derek. That was a very self-explanatory nonverbal communication for our music for the today's In It to Win It. And if you did not notice, some of the features is the core of unpassive. Oh, bless. Sharing and sharing and sharing to our communities. So that takes us to our mindset. On our regular daily basis, we need the mindset to take us to what we need to do, remind us of where we're going and where we are in our individual lives. And our mindset speaker today is none other than our brother King Tim Ferguson, who was here with us a couple of weeks ago, last week, and he's going to share today part two of his mindset, which will be constructs of a business and the personalities that define them. He started this and he shared part of that with us last week, and today he's going to finish it. Now, if we are here watching live or on YouTube, we know who he is, but just know that he is a motivational speaker and he draws attention from his audience by the way he engages them in unlocking long-term unanswered questions. So, do we need to know any more about him that we have not heard before, apart from the fact that he's a business leader? No. What he shares with us is more important than what he has accomplished in his life. But one important thing that I really want us to remember is that he is an author. And every time he presents with us, I will always remind him, put the name and title of your book and where people can find it in the chat, because there are some people who may not have been there the first time you presented and some who will be there the second time and vice versa. So it's always good to remind our viewers and listeners of who is speaking to us and who is sharing with us. So our king and brother Tim, we welcome you with open arms, and the microphone is yours. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Um, Greetings, kings and queens. Again, it is a pleasure to come on today to share part two of the motivational mindset that I had spoke on starting last Tuesday. And what I want to do for those that say that for those who were on, or maybe if you weren't on last Tuesday, I'm just going to do kind of a brief recap of what I shared last Tuesday to go into today, and then I want to leave it open for Q&A. And so basically, the best way that I can do this is as what I was being told is, well, talk about my book. You know, a lot of you guys, you know, she's mentioned my book. How I got this vision and why I wrote this book was because I came from a background of health and fitness. I started off in health and fitness at the age of 13 years old. And I became an active bodybuilder. I decided to go to college to study kinesiology. And it was then when I was in college that I recognized that what I was learning in school was the very opposite of what was being advertised or networked on TV when it comes to health and nutrition. And I'm one where I would say I'm not one to just automatically just assume that the school is right, but I'm one where I want to do some research. And as I was doing research, I recognized that the health industry is feeding people, intentionally improper knowledge when it comes to our bodies. And as a result, why we're one of the most chronically ill societies, although we are one of the wealthiest countries, is the main reason is because there's a poor lack of knowledge when it comes to our physical bodies. And so, but one day I was thinking a few years down the line, I was, the Most High spoke with me And he asked me, he said, what does it mean to be healthy? And he said, before you just give me a definition, go into my word and look up the word health. And when I went in to look up the word health in the Greek and Hebrew terms, the Hebrew term aruka and the Greek term hugiano just means to be whole. And when you hear the word whole is an objective term. It's not subjective to your body, it's objective. And so you can be whole in anything, or you can be broken in anything. And so then he gave me a metaphor of understanding where we stand in these other areas in our bodies as a representation of wholeness. And so he said to me, he said, I gave you 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 feet. So when you go about your physical destination, what do? If you trip and fall, what do? You just get back up. Do you get frustrated over it? No. Is it something that you think about saying, I can't afford for this to happen? No. But now imagine you with that same confidence that you had initially go about your destination missing an arm and missing a leg, or having a severed arm and a severed leg. And you're going about your destination, you trip and fall. The question is it harder to get back up? Of course it is. You might even find your destinations being limited in terms of going upstairs or places of higher altitudes because of the fact that you don't have all working extremities. And so he says, metaphorically speaking, your arms are a representation of your physical body and your finances, and your legs are a representation of your spirit and your soul. How many of my people are trying to fulfill destinies with broken and missing limbs? And guys, when I first got this revelation, I had to raise my hand, like, me. and so when it comes to understanding them, what they wrote when I was talking about the motivational gifts, I would say that's associated to being one of our legs. And if you think about it, when it comes to our physical body, imagine if we have legs and no arms. Well, guess what? We can walk around our destination, but we can't open doors. We have to rely on other people to open doors for us. Or imagine if we have arms but no legs. We have our arms, but we can't move around. And so we're kind of stuck. So it's essential for us to have all these quadrants and being whole in all these quadrants so that we can fulfill our goals. And so what I was talking about is when it comes with the motivational gifts is one of the legs, I like to call it the left leg of the body, where understanding why we do the things we do, why we see the things we see, and how do our gifts fit in the marketplace, any kind of business. And when we recognize that our gifts are associated to fulfilling specific purposes in the marketplace, we're able to create a trajectory where not only are we successful in what we do, but then we also learn how to put others in positions where they're successful in what they do. And so, as I mentioned, there's 7 motivational gifts, and I named them out. We have what I've called the perceiver, the teacher, the exhorter, the administrator, the giver, the compassionate, and the server. And each one of these gifts are essential to where when you put all 7 of them together, it brings form completion. So basically, guys, we need them all. Now, 1 or 2 of them stands out as being our personality, our way of thinking, but the other leaves room for us to have help. And so, and in the business sector, they all play a very essential role in different areas. So, as I had mentioned before, when it comes to, if you think about business, you can break business down into 3 major categories: finance, operations, and marketing. And when it comes to operations per se, you have human resources. That's the back end of the business. That's the individuals who are bringing up the laws and the regulations for the business and hiring people. And those who that are great for human resources are perceivers. These are individuals that are very black and white by nature. They can be very critical. But one thing, they don't let things go past them that don't fly. They know to have strong opinions. They may not mince words because they say things as they see it. But when they're put in a position of where there needs to be a black and white atmosphere, they're the best. This is the individual where you never have to worry about hiring somebody who's not qualified for the business. Opposite of a perceiver are what we call exhorters. This is the individuals that are good on the front end of the business. When you want to have somebody who's really good, who has a real nice smile that they can put on a picture for advertising, or someone who's really good when it comes to sales and marketing, being the face of your business, they're really, really good with that, where unlike a perceiver, they see all colors. This is the person where they basically, how to make anything sound good. So, I like to say they like to make dirt sound good. But it's a natural gift that they have where in an environment, they know how to connect and network with everyone. And naturally, all you have to do is teach them the principles of the business in itself. Then you have some of the internal of the business when it comes to systems, when it comes to regulations, not just regulations, but research, continuous improvement, or even accounting. And this is where teachers come into place. These are the individuals that are really good, that are thinkers in this matter. And they're really good when it comes to researching and looking at ways to improve. They're very objective thinkers in how they think. And so as a result, they're unlike perceivers, they're not critical, but they are thinkers. They're looking for ways to make things better. Not so much they don't care so much to be in the spotlight. They don't mind being behind a table or a desk in a computer. And they like, being kept to themselves and what they do. And they typically like being around a select circle of friends that share the same common ground. But they're very good because they're always looking for new ways and new ideas of improving upon what you already have. And then opposite of the teacher is the compassionate person. This is the individual where, unlike being thinkers, they're the feelers. They're very emotionally felt. This is the person that are great on phones when it comes to customer service. They're naturally empathetic. They don't like to be the bearer of bad news. This is the person where I don't care how bad a customer calls in complaining, they're not going to feed into it where they're going to start arguing with them. They're going to do everything that they can and empathize with them and genuinely empathize with them to really bring the customer down to a more neutral level and really work things out for them. And outside of a business perspective, this is the person where if you have somebody where you might see them having tears in their eyes and you say, "What's wrong with them? What's wrong with you?" And they say, "Oh, my dog died," or somebody else is hurting. That's their nature because they have a nature and a care for and a concern for other people. In fact, they're called to intercede for the brokenhearted. And so, but in the businesses, like I said, they're really great when it comes to customer service. And then we have the intertwine when it comes to the doing of the work, whether it's when it comes to projects. And in the projects, you have the servers and you have the administrators. And administrators are the individuals that like to delegate projects. They like to take on long-term tasks and they like to put things together and they like to rule. They like to tell people what to do. Some people might call them bossy in the sense, but this is the individual that just naturally delegates. And they're really good at delegating. And what's really great about their gift is they have a high threshold for chaos. And what I mean by that is that in most times when things get out of control, most of us kind of have a hard time thinking. We get stressed out. We lose focus. We don't know what to do. Administrators have a natural threshold for chaos where they know how to, in the middle of a fire, get things in order. And so how that may reflect is if you're in an office setting or if you're in a room setting and you look at their desk, it's always a mess. Things are all over the place. And you might be saying to yourself, how do you operate with everything all over the place? I mean, I can't even think straight. And for them, it's okay. And don't dare do them a favor and try to clean up their desk because, that's going to really throw them off where they're going to say to you, I don't know where all my stuff is. But again, that is because of that high threshold for chaos. And then opposite of the administrator are the servers. They work very well with administrators. Why? Because they don't want to be administrators. They like to take on projects, but rather than delegate, they like to do the things hands-on. And and often it matters because they like to do things hand-on, they're very good at what they do with their hands. So you don't have to worry about poor craftsmanship or workmanship when it comes to those who are servers. Because they take very much pride in what they do. And but if you put a server in an administrative role, you're going to find them being counterproductive, where they're going to go behind everyone, and redo the work. And so we don't want counterproductivity, which is why it's best for servers to be in the role of serving, of doing the work hands-on. And then lastly, we have the seventh gift. We call that the giver. The giver, unlike the other gifts, does not have a gift that contrasts it. but yet it is a gift in and of itself that has that is essential in a business role, because when it comes to business, well, one thing that business is centered around: money. Okay, whether it's money that we need set aside to be able to buy products wholesale so we can resell, whether it's money needs a budget to be able to put together to get a new building, whatever it is that we need to do, we need money to circulate, and we want to have a good deal of it. And givers are the best when it comes to money, because when it comes to money and savings, because they're the most frugal out of all the gifts, where they know how to find what they're looking for without compromise for the best deals. I have friends that are givers, and I love having friends that are givers, because I can just ask them, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me out? And they'll say, sure, not a problem. They find something, and they'll find something even better than what I was looking for at a fraction of the price. Some people would consider looking at it or saying, oh, these are people that are cheap. No, they're not cheap. They're very, I like to call it frugal, because they're very conscious of their money. And as a result, this is the reason why they always have money. So in a business setting, givers are really good when it comes to the service of what we call procurement. Whether you're shopping for wholesale products on Alibaba, or whether you're looking through warehouses to get certain pieces to building something, this is the person that you want shopping for you, because they're going to, like I said, look for what is needed without compromising quality for the best available price. And when it comes to budgets and setting budgets aside, they're ones where they're the best at it. And all of the gifts we can do this, but when we think about the gifts, one of the things when we understand the gifts, guys, is we identify the gift that's in ourselves, and then we want to identify the gifts of those around us, not for the purpose to take advantage of, but for the purpose to know who's around us. And the objective is for us to build a team. And when we build a team, especially having a team where all of the gifts are encompassed, operating in their role, there isn't anything that we cannot do. Everything that is done in a smooth light, and everybody also feels valued. One of the things that I'm pretty sure everyone also can relate to, whether you worked in a business or whether you have been associated in a cause, is the feeling of being valued. And when people don't feel valued, they don't give their best effort. They're kind of in it. They're not really engaged. As to when a person feels valued, they see that they are essential to the cause, they're going to give you their best. And so there's a lot of benefits to understanding the gifts. Now, like I said, that was kind of a brief rundown of the gifts. And I just want to kind of give you a little scenario of how these gifts work in a business setting, dealing with the mind. How many of us know a person or have people when they come to us frustrated, hurting, sad, pouting, and they just need someone to talk to, and you talk to them and you're trying to give them some advice and they're not listening. And you're more frustrated because you're like, why are you calling me and you won't listen to anything that I'm saying? We all know somebody or a few people we can think of that are having problems and are not listening to us. And we tend to take it personally. Oh, well, they don't take me seriously or something. And the truth of the matter is, guys, is that no, things are just out of order. Each one of the gifts, when it comes to a counseling matter, all play a specific, essential role in a specific position. And I'm going to break this down in the case to where when it comes to psychology, talking to someone, rather than when a person is down and they're hurting, they're frustrated, whatever the matter is, the person they need to talk to is a person who is the compassionate person. Because the compassionate person is the individual who's going to hear them out. They're going to empathize with them. They're going to hug them. They're going to cry with them, and make the person feel that get there that feeling of I'm show that I'm cared about, and they get that need met. And you don't know what the person is going to say to the compassionate person after that. They're going to say, "Oh, thank you for everything, but what do I do?" The compassionate person is not going to know. But if the compassionate person understands the system, they say, "I don't know, but I know someone who can help you." And they're going to introduce you to the teacher. And the teacher now is the person who's going to listen to everything that's going on. They're going to hear everything, and their objective is to renew their mind. So they're going to now relate their problem to something that they do understand, showing them that they're the same things. It's called an objective. This is where the objective mind comes in, or what we call renewing the mind. And so now the person says, "Oh my gosh, I never thought about it like that. Wow, that's awesome. So how do I apply it?" And that's where the teacher's job is done. He's going to say, "I don't know," or he's going to say, "Let me introduce you to the next person in this group, the exhorter." The exhorter is now basically going to sit and listen to them and hear everything. They have this new renewed mind, and they're going to say, "What are the steps and how do I do it?" The exhorter is a natural step-by-step person. They're going to give them practical steps of advice. You're going to say, "You want to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G." And you'll get from here, you'll get from there. They're going to motivate them, make them feel like they can do anything in the world. And then the person's going to say, "All righty, so in certain situations, how do I know when to do A first or do B second, or how should I know when to do what?" The exhorter usually is going to say, "Figure it out," because that's just their nature of being natural, just being in this matter, figuring, just kind of going with the flow. Or they can say, "You know what? Let me introduce you to the next person in this group," and that's the perceiver. The perceiver now is the one where you share everything, you share your steps and your where you're going to go. You share what the exhorter is saying to you, and the perceiver is going to say, "You do not want to do A, B, and C in this situation or in that situation. You want to apply that only over here and over there." They're going to give you direction as to how to apply the steps that you want to go, so that you limit the errors that you would take if you were just to figure it out yourself. Now, from that place there, the person says, "Wow, I came in, hurting, broken, not knowing anything to do, to now having a renewed mind, practical steps and direction, all by the means of a team that has worked together. And as this team worked together, has gotten me to a place where now I'm on my way to resolving my problem." Now, you might say to yourself, "Well, okay, that's great for you named 4 of the gifts, but what about the rest of the gifts? Where do they play a role?" Well, you remember what I said when it comes to systems, building a system or operating a system. We need administrators, and we need servers that now are working in terms of the project and building it. So when we have this flow, we have this system, they're the ones that are working behind the scenes and making and for this to flow from getting to A to Z. And you have the administrators that are there managing the servers, and in that matter, as a team, or if it's more than one administrator or what, to making this system flow operantly. Now, also great now, but there leaves room for only one more gift: the giver. Okay, we all know money is the answer to all things, right? And so when we want to create a system like this, it's going to cost money, and even when it comes with time being in and of the essence, money is involved. And so we want to budget and find out, how much does it cost for us to put on a program or to operate a program effectively like this at this level? And that's where the giver comes in, where they can look at all of the resources that are required in fulfilling this matter, and they can shop, and we can see how we can fund these resources, the way we can fund these resources at the most effective price without compromising the value. And there you have it, guys. This is how all these gifts work together through many joints intertwined in a system function. And that's just one example. But there's many examples when we all come together like this, we get from point A to point B, and we get through it effortlessly. And so I thank you guys for this time. I want to take this time right now, opening up for Q&A and any feedback and going further. Thank you again.
Wow, thank you so much, Brother Tim. Thank you, not just for sharing again today, but for dedicating your time and for saying yes when the challenge was put out there to you to come back, and you took it and you did it. You thought you couldn't handle more than one time with us. You did it more than once, and here you are, you're still going strong. And guess what? We're here for you, to support you, because you're helping us to grow. You're helping us with our mindsets to look at things differently. And everyone is very unique in their own way. You have 5 fingers and they all have different directions on where these prints go, right? So we are here, and the way we perceive you is different from the way other forums perceive you. So thank you so much for taking time to come back. And I see that one of your mentors' hand is already up. Yes, Queen Dr. T, please proceed.
Hey, just the way I taught you, Tim. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. I am so happy. Wonderful presentation as always. Tim had a chance to come to my church on last Sunday, and he was he was very well received, and he did an awesome job as usual and everything. So I'm so proud of him. And I love this topic because the 7 personalities and the motivations that we utilize to operate in business, this is so important because, like he said, it's teaching you who you need to be connected with. If you're around all givers, if everybody in your inner circle, help me out, Tim, if everybody in your inner circle is all givers, you're not going to get anywhere because you're not going to have any money. You're going to be giving it all away. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a balance. Even when you're picking your board or when you're trying to start a business, and maybe it might be an LLC, it might just be even a partnership, whatever you might be doing, but you want to have someone that's working with you that's going to give you that balance. So I guess what Tim is really saying, don't pick someone that's just like you. Okay, you might like that person, love that person, thrive with that person on a personal, social level, but other things that you're trying to achieve, going to another level, going to that apex of your life, going being your mission, being your ministry, being a business, that may not be the best person for you. You know what I'm saying? So I think the information that Tim has given us is very valuable. And I really encourage all of you to get his book because I know we're not going to always remember everything, but I believe it's nicely outlined in his book, which he has put in if he hasn't done it already, he'll put it in the chat again. But please buy that book. It's not about just supporting him, but it's also about learning these things. Again, when you realize your place in the quadrant, when you realize your place in this whole scheme of things, then you'll fit better and you'll feel better because then you won't be so frustrated. Because I think a lot of times, even in business, we're so mismatched and we're trying to figure out why am I so frustrated? Maybe we have the wrong type of people, in our midst. I'm not saying they're bad people. They just don't have the right equation, okay, that you need to get the job done effectively. So that's all I want to say on that tip. But then, Tim, thank you so much. And I would like to know if we can invite Tim back again. He has a plethora of knowledge about many, many things. So I would like to say on behalf of the group, I'm sure they would agree, you're more than welcome to come back, and speak to us, because you're an awesome speaker, wonderful man of God, father, husband. You're just awesome. And thank you so much for, just sharing with us on this platform. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, thank you. And I'll say this as well, just kind of piggyback on what Dr. Ford is saying is when it comes to the gifts, every gift has what I call idiosyncrasies. Some people want to call them flaws, but I call them idiosyncrasies for the purpose because what the idiosyncrasies do is they leave room for the other gifts. Okay. And so when I'm able to recognize it as an idiosyncrasy, I also don't look at myself as feeling like, oh, I'm a failure or I'm bad when I see it from an idiosyncrasy standpoint versus a flaw. And so it's 100%, like I said, is when you understand the gifts, you could have good people around you, but they're just in the wrong positions. And then, when you're able to put them in proper positions and then saying, this is who we need for this position, and this is who we need for that position. This is how we build this and fill this up so that we can get what we want to get. And the last thing I'll say is, one of the things that because we don't know what we don't know, and we do things just as we are, a lot of our efforts of trying to fulfill things are in error. And I want you to think about it like this. Tell me something you've succeeded in doing all the wrong things. Whether it's cooking a meal, whether it's getting dressed, tell me something that you succeeded in, but you did everything incorrectly. Nothing. We all can recognize you do things wrong, you're going to get poor results. You do things right, you're going to get right results. But there is an area that we all have within us where I call you don't know what you don't know, that it's kind of a gray area. And so we don't recognize what we're doing, if we're doing the right thing or if we're doing the wrong thing. But I challenge you with this here. If you're doing something and what you're getting consistently is poor results, it's not because of probability. It's not because of luck. It's not because, it's the industry or it's my market or anything. No, it's because things are being done wrong. I just don't know exactly what they are. But once I recognize these things and I now straighten things out, the success flows so smooth, it's unbelievable. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Brother Tim. Wow, that's such a feedback from your mentor, Dr. T, a great one. Very much appreciated. I guess I'm not guessing, but I'm just thinking from my perspective, the receiver and the giver aspect of it, there really isn't any way for you to know who to engage with until you know your personality type, right?
That's correct.
Because if you have an LLC, you don't know who to recruit because you don't know what their personality types are. You just know them as associates or your peers or somebody that was recommended by somebody else. You cannot tell until you actually are working with that individual to know if if the individual is a receiver or a giver. But anyway, is there any way we can get all that information from your book, or this is something that you have to share with us from a next mindset presentation?
No, this is in my book. All of this is in my book,
Okay.
breaking this down. And what I do share in the book is, is understanding that when we look in the mirror, often, for the most part, for most of us, we look in the mirror, we don't like what we see. And so what happens is we try not to look in the mirror. But here's the thing is when we go out into the real world, we're forced to look at the big picture. And when we look at the big picture, we look at everybody else. And because we don't like what we see, we tend to have a negative perspective of outlook of others. So when I'm looking at others, I tend to look at their flaws. And when I'm looking at their flaws or their problems, I'm rating myself and saying, well, at least I'm not that bad, or at least I'm not that bad. That kind of puts me here. And so what happens is when you identify your gift, a paradigm shift occurs where rather than you looking at the big picture and you're seeing flaws, you're looking at the big picture and the gifts stand out. So when I'm talking to a person, I can talk to a person and I can see it. I don't have to ask a few questions, but I get the idea of what their gift is just by talking to them, just by how they carry themselves, just by the things that they're interested in. And again, not to criticize, but to understand. And then from there, learning how to now that I know who I'm talking to, I know how to speak your language.
And that's awesome. I hear you. So that means my interpretation is to understand someone's personality type, you need to know what they say about themselves and what they say about others and what others say about them. Is that accurate?
Well, to understand others' personality types is you just need to understand the personalities. Each personality type is very succinct in terms of its gifts. Teachers are individuals that are usually close to themselves. This is an individual, where they really don't like being around a lot of people. They only have friends that share select interests. They don't like meaningless chit chat. They're very knowledgeable in the things that they are knowledgeable in, and they're very quiet about the things that they're not quiet in because they view credibility as very important. So this is the individual, if you're sharing new information to them, they're usually not going to take it at first value. They're going to say, I'm going to do the research and check that out because they hold credibility to a very high level. And often they hold themselves to that very high level as well. So they're usually not going to tell you something that they don't feel for sure themselves because they don't want to be deemed incredible to their audience. Perceivers, this is a person who's outspokenly opinionated. They can speak a lot. They're like I said, they kind of say things as they are. But when it comes to what they say, oftentimes they're right. They're very black and white. They're for it or they're not. No gray area. You can't get them to move. Or some would consider them critical or judgmental per se. When it comes to exhorters, they're pretty nonchalant. They can talk about anything. They love to laugh. They have a humorous type of personality where, they're pretty much, like I said, they can get along with just about anybody, but they're very practical individuals. So if you're trying to be theoretical with them, they're going to fall asleep. They like motivation. Give me the steps of advice on what I need to do. When it comes to, like I said, compassionate, these are very empathetic people. They are very compassionate. They're very loving, very careful, very soft and sighing. They really show themselves when you can see how they respond to others. This is the person where you might see them getting really angry because somebody's baby is not being taken care of correctly, or when you hear about these, animal rights activists, most of these people are compassionate. um, and then you have like administrators. This is the person that's typically, they're always bossing people around. You can say that they're always looking to delegate. This is the person always asking, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? They really don't care how it gets done. Just get it done. And then servers, they're the perfectionists. This is the more, if you ask them to do it, they're going to do it, but they're going to give you 110%. Whatever they do, it's their craft, whether they're cooks, whether they're good with their hands, engineering, whatever they do, they're going to be great at it. And they don't like anybody else doing the work for them. And so they're not as much with administrators and with servers, I should say, and givers, and I would say compassionate. They're not so much speaking personality type gifts. They're more quiet to themselves, whereas the other gifts, perceivers, teachers, administrators, and exhorters, are your speaking gifts. And like I said, another thing with perceivers have a select circle of friends like teachers, but perceivers only have a select circle of friends usually because they don't like a lot of people. And so you'll find out, it is just like, oh, I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. And so they kind of have their little select circle there, whereas teachers, they have a select circle of friends, but it's more so common ground. Yeah, we're all a part of this group. We like Roblox or whatever it is, and so once you get to understand, you'll notice, you say to yourself, wow, that sounds a lot like me, in a lot of ways. And then you start to recognize, who are some others that I recognize are in that matter. And then, you start to see the opposite, or you kind of question, I wonder what, it sounds like a teacher, or that sounds like an exhorter type gift. But I would say the best way to really understand the gift, and this is where getting the book is really essential, is when you understand the idiosyncrasies. Because when you understand the idiosyncrasies, that's how you know it's your gift. If you're questioning on the idiosyncrasies of a gift and you're like, no, that's not me, I've never had that problem, that's not your gift. But when it comes to those idiosyncrasies, at some point, either you're dealing with it now or you have dealt with it, you can say, I've been all of these. That is a strong sign that is a motivational gift.
Thank you so much, my dear brother. Very much appreciate that. You have a customer, Queen JW, please, over to you. And after that, DrBenny, please.
Hi, good evening to everyone. Thank you, Queen Debbie, for allowing me to speak on this platform. And thank you because you're the host with the most, like I always say. Thanks to Dr. Derek for allowing us to have this platform so we can get this awesome mindset that King Ferguson Jr. delivered to each and every one of us this evening. Thank you so much. That was exceptional and right to the point. I like the fact that these 7 motivational mindsets, like you were saying, we can have each and every one of them already within ourselves, and yeah, some people might not like, he stated that we might not recognize it, or we might not say, hey, we never did it. But I know throughout life, throughout this journey, that we will experience each and one of those, if not all of them, at a particular time in our lives. I could say for administrative, when I took on a job in St. Martin, working alongside just me and the doctor, I had to do some administrative functions that I didn't even know that I could even do. I questioned myself. I wonder if I can do it, but I did it. So it's God said in his word, we can do anything. And even sometimes we down ourselves and say we can't, we really can. I don't like that word, cannot. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I always remember our awesome President Obama when he said, yes, we can. So, Tim, that was well. I love how you put those together. I definitely have to get your book because I think it will help in not only in us becoming leaders, but also in how we can pick a team, because a lot of us have a lot of on perseverance that came along on board with us. And sometimes, they're not so much into it, but we have to help them in somewhat to get there or be motivated and put them in the areas that they can help with the team so we can be on one accord. So that is amazing. I think you should be ready for your next book because that one is amazing. You're well done, sir. Thank you so much for being part of us on Passive.
Thank you.
May God
Yeah,
bless you.
thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
The first thing I would say, I just smile, right? That's the first thing I do. Greetings to everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to my brothers and sisters, my queens and kings around the globe. I want to welcome each and everyone. But most importantly, I want to thank our Heavenly Father for bringing Brother Timothy to all of us, bringing our CEO, the most important person, because if it wasn't for him, you and I would not be here, Brother Timothy, Mr. Ash Mufari. When we have the time, we should always pray for him and his entire family, as well as our new tech team, tech brothers and sisters, who are now developing some of our products or trying to upgrade to make sure that all connects come back to life so that all of us will be utilizing it. Thank you so much, Brother Timothy. I appreciate you with this astonishing mindset, talking about givers that will help people because there are some people, when you give, you enjoy giving. When you give, you make people happy. That's the way I look at it. I will give you an example that, well, let me just say I have some family members that they haven't seen me for 30 years, right? And they want, they need something, or they have been trying to get something from me, and I have not been doing so. But in the long run, I say, oh, it's about time to make them happy. And when you give them something, they are excited. Please forgive me. I have a brother who loves to eat rice, right? Now, if you give him just $10, you make him happy. So givers don't think about themselves instead. They put others first. Givers don't expect anything in return, but their priority is to make others happy. But you know about takers, right? The takers are complete opposite, that they are out there themselves. They don't give anything back. These people are selfish, convincing, manipulative. But what you have done today, you taught us a lot. And I really appreciate you. I know with time I will buy the book, even though I need to create time to read, right? But I appreciate you coming, and we pray that you come back next week again for additional topic to inspire us, for us to know the importance of giving. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Yes, thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Benny. Thank you, Brother Tim. And yes, I see that you did put the book, The Healthy Quadrant, in the chat. So please, if you did not get it last week, this is another opportunity to get it. And yes, you can come back anytime. We always make time for everybody. Every Tuesday and Thursday on this forum, we alternate. So that should not be an issue. If your schedule permits, just let us know when, and there'll be a slot for you to come back again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Brother Tim. All right. I'm not seeing any hands up, so we're going to move over to how to stay protected in 2024. Cybersecurity. Our specialist is in the house every Tuesday for the last year plus. We've been listening to her. You just heard her voice. commenting on Brother Tim's presentation. Our one and only sister, Queen Sister Dr. Benny Intinglet, is here every Tuesday to educate us on our safety, especially when it comes to the internet. And I don't think anyone will tell me they know it all, because you don't know when it will happen to you. And some of us who thought we were very careful, it still happens. I have people, companies, my employers or previous employers saying, okay, retain us for this, retain us for that. Anything happens, we'll notify you. Guess what? They still happen. So, oh, okay, we're going to cancel this credit card, we're going to cancel that. But you assured me, right? The one person who can educate you on how to deal with that is Dr. Benny. And she's been doing this today. As always, she comes with a prepared topic. So let her be the one to present to us what she has today. Does anyone in the Unpassive family, be it here, online, on YouTube, or otherwise, does not know who the First Lady of Unpassive is? Let me tell you, her name is Dr. Benedict Intinglet. She's right here. You've heard her before in several forums over the years. So please, let's welcome with open arms our one and only First Lady of Unpassive, Dr. Benny. Over to you, sis. Thank you.
You got that right. And no one would take it away from me. Seriously, no one. I'll fight. Thank you so much, Queen Debbie, for giving me this opportunity. Yes. Today we're going to talk about data lost. Most of us, company always lost data, right? You may be the victim of your important data loss at any time. Hence, you must know about the cost of data loss and how to prevent it. But before that, you must know what data loss is, right? Data loss is the phenomenon or a situation of losing important files or information stored in the computer memory, cloud storage, or hard drive. Now, it may occur due to the fault of what? The operator or the fault of a machine. The cause of data loss are harmful software or files. Power failure, whenever there is a power failure, a lot of companies, they lost data. Now you have computer theft, more and more. An effect of data loss, it can be an interruption in the business, the waste of data loss or sensitive resources. Data loss is a serious risk, not only for Unpassive or for businesses all over the world. Companies of all sizes today, data is the basic fuel of business. With companies like our own company, Unpassive, relying on the digital services, e-commerce, and cloud storage. If you could permit me, I am going to share the screen. Debbie, I'm learning. Okay. Yeah, sorry. All right. There you go. All right. Data loss is the intentional and unintentional destruction of information. Data loss can cause by people or processes from within or outside of an organization. Data loss is similar to the data breach in that data is compromised. However, a data breach, data is usually unharmed, but in the wrong hands. Data loss can occur in a data breach if the data itself is destroyed. So, how does data loss occur? Common unintentional causes of data loss includes what? The hardware. There's always a hardware malfunction. When some of this hardware, they are so old, that's why it's really malfunction. The software corruption, human error, there's always a problem with human error, and natural disaster. So data can also be lost during migrations and in power outage or improper shutdown of the system. Sometimes some of us, we cannot shut down our computers. There's always a data loss in that aspect. Hardware malfunction is the most common cause of lost data. Now, a hard drive can crash due to what? A mishandling, overheating, mechanical issues, or simply what? The passage of time. Proper hard drive maintenance can help prevent the data loss. And being mindful of drives, the lifespan enables users now to prepare for the drive replacement. Software corruption is another common cause of data loss, and it can take place when systems are improperly shut down. These shutdowns can usually be attributed to power outage or human error. So it falls on what organizations to prepare for these incidents and ensure the proper shutting down of the system. Natural disasters can cause data loss through all the above, be it damage to hardware or causing the system to fail without the data being backed up. As we all know, I'm just going to give an example. Like, you see, within our own company, we do have database administrators. We have certified ethical hackers, right? So the database administrators, they make sure they back up all the data every day. Sometimes they can do a full backup. They can do incremental backup. You have to back up the system so that in case there is, something happens, you misplace the data. Now you have to go back. Now the database administrator now will be able to recover what he backed the previous night. So you have disaster recovery planning, and the frequent backups are the best strategies for preventing this type of data loss. Computer viruses such as malware can cause intentional data loss. To prevent this, organizations must keep what? Antivirus software up to date and ensures that employees are aware of what? The potential malware threat. Natural disaster can cause data loss through all the above. Computer viruses such as the malware can also cause intentional data loss. Now you know about hackers, right? There are a lot of hackers out there doing everything to hack into our system, to steal the data and sell it. So hackers can also cause intentional data loss from within or outside of an organization. These incidents require what? A different protection method, particularly regardless of the access. Now, to prevent intentional data destruction from recent or current employees, a company should limit access to confidential sensitive data to necessarily personnel only confidential data, right? Controlling or restricting access can also aid in preventing loss via hackers or even human error, where an employee may unintentionally erase data without knowing, right? Without knowing what the severity of the action. Preventing data loss can be an expensive process, now requiring the process or the purchases of software or other backup and the data protection product or services. While the cost of these services can be very high, but throughout the protection against the data loss is usually worth it in the long run, especially when compared to potential costs the down the line. Now, in the case of a major data loss, business continuity or a day-to-day function can be severely affected. Now, taking on additional costs. Companies like our own company or any other company, the time and the resources will often needs to be what? Diverted to address the data loss and recover the most recent copy of the data. So other businesses function can be affected. An organization reputation can also suffer following the data loss. Customers need to be informed of the data loss. Data and those other customers might take their business somewhere else. So if you lost, I'm just going to give an example like a SunTrust or any other bank. If something happened with your own data and they don't inform you, what you do, sometimes you will want to sue the company, right? If your information is lost. And sometimes you say, well, why should I be with SunTrust? Let me go with Bank of America. So giving personal sensitive data to another company takes trust, right? The loss of the data can make an organization look unreliable. Now, rebuilding this relationship, to tell you the truth, it takes a significant time and the company's resources. Now we have data loss prevention strategies. Now it can take the form of strategy or the products that aim to mitigate or prevent the data loss in case of an incident. As you all know that when you are stepping out of your house, one never knows the risk that can happen, right? So you have to take precautions. Data loss prevention strategy, it tends now to target the sharing of sensitive data outside of the corporate network, while software products controls this aspect by limiting what users can transfer or share. The end goal of data loss prevention is to protect confidential and sensitive data from unauthorized. The unauthorized is that means you don't authorize that a particular individual to touch or to know what you have, right? So we want to prevent them from unauthorized users who could mishandle or maliciously share your information to sell it out there in order to make profit. So whether in response to insider threat, as you all already know, what an insider threat is, an individual within your company who knows everything about your company, knows what is going on within the company, knows where the finances are located. But that particular insider threat can try now to hurt this company by stealing the information and also saving that information for his own use or selling the information out there to make more and more gain. That is what that insider threat is. And they need to conform to outside data protection regulation. Having a data prevention plan is becoming an important part of modern backup and protection or data protection strategy. So when it comes to legal ramification, an organization is responsible for protecting someone else's data, but it also takes on the responsibility to keep these people or organizations informed of the status of their data in the United States. Each state has enacted the legislation requiring both private and government organizations to inform relevant parties of a breach or loss of their data. Banks will always send you a note, or they will send an envelope to let you know that something has occurred, that there was a data breach that occurred within that bank. They just want to notify you should in case you lost your data. And as we all know with banks, they do have insurance that the insurance will be able to pay, right? So passed in May of 2018, the European Union General Data Protection Regulation addresses notifying affected parties of data breach or lost. Now, in Article 33 of the General Data Protection Regulation, there is a mandatory 72 hours countdown for all the organization to gather information and report on the data breaches to the regulators, as well as impacted individuals involved in the breach. Now, along with the notification, the organization must draft a plan to recover the data within that 72 hours. Now, while the General Data Protection Regulation is an European regulation, it applies to any organization that has what? The data of the EU citizens. Now, businesses of this, any organization globally that collects this type of data is liable for data loss and subject to general data protection regulation rules. We talked about backing up of data, right? Now, recovery after the data loss. Backup are the key recovering from data loss. Now, ensuring that an organization has at least one additional recent copy of vital data to ensure that backups are safe. Off-site backups are recommended to protect them from the threat that takes place in or around the data center. Copies kept out of reach may be more difficult to access later on, but provide what? An extra layer of protection. Cloud backups can be accessed with relative ease following data loss, but organizations should vet a cloud provider to ensure that data will be protected and retrievable. That is what is going to happen within our company. Performing frequent backups. Every company must perform a backup, frequent backups, and recovery tests. As we all know, it will help to make sure that data is properly backed up, formatted, and it can be accessed as quickly as necessary. Now, having antivirus software in place is the best protection against malicious hackers. So it should be updated frequently for the more physical threats, such as natural disaster or fire. Computer hardware drive should be kept in clean, dry, secure location. Organizations like our own company, Safe, should also monitor employees' access to the file and equipment. proper training regarding the confidentiality and the sharing of data can help prevent loss by humans. Once the cause of data loss are identified, you can easily find the method of recovering those data. Specialists always recommend following the security rules while using the device or storing data of any organization. So it is wise to follow the rules to prevent data loss. As you all know, this is where I got all my information from. I want to thank you all for listening, but to let each and everyone knows that we do have an important person within this organization. He is a self-sacrificing man, a man who has a heart for humanity, a man who stated that either I do or I die. He is here to eradicate poverty and to uplift humanity. And he made that statement. Either I do or I die. And he also said, no one can stop unpassive except who? God. But he is willing to do what it takes to hire the best employees to make sure, especially like database administrators, for them to protect our data, to back up the data. Should in case something happen, they'll be able to recover it. Thank you so much, Queen Debbie McCormick, Dr. Derek. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate you.
We appreciate you, Dr. Benny. You nailed it. Hey, my sister, you nailed it. The data loss thing is something I have never thought of. I was just looking at all the intro and all the way to the end. I never, ever thought of any of those things and they back up. So I'll give you a glass of palm wine, a glass of palm wine for that presentation. You did so well, sis. This is something that we need to educate ourselves, and our sister has religiously dedicated her time to share with us, our viewers, online and live and in the future. We should not take things for granted on face value. So this is not just something that she's giving us from her knowledge. It's also noted, even the EU, they're also doing all of this. It's a global issue. We should not ignore it. Let us listen and protect ourselves. For those of us who have anything and everything that has to do with information technology, we should protect our things as if our lives depend on them. And listening to this, oh yes, I have to be extra more careful. So anyway, let me not talk about myself. I know we were 32 of us here listening, and people definitely had comments or observations or were making notes. This is the right time, please, to raise your hand and unmute yourself if you had a comment, observation on Dr. Benny's presentation. It's the right time right now. I see. Welcome, Engineer Mike. You miss your sister, right? Engineer, oh, he came back. I thought I admitted him already. Engineer Mike, welcome. You missed your sister's presentation, but it's not too late. You're here at the right time. And welcome to all our viewers, including our sister Rosalie Tawembe. We welcome you. And everybody else, we greeted them at the beginning. And the only reason I mentioned those names is because they came when the presentations were going on. Yes, Queen JW, please proceed. Our darling sister. Go ahead, Queen JW.
Thank you so much, Queen Debbie. And thank you most of all, Queen Dr. Benny, for that amazing presentation. I mean, it's not only respecting the company and securing the data, but also our data at home, how to protect ourselves. Just like the company teaches us to protect their information, we also have to protect our information at home also from it getting into the wrong hands. But once it's out there, like DrBenny said, it's really the company responsibility to secure our information. But of course, information can be sold for money, for profit and so forth. So let's do our best, know the sources that we are entrusting with our information when we give our information out, even though we don't have any control thereafter. But let's do our best to secure our data at home and also respect the companies that we work for in securing their data. Thanks again, DrBenny, for always bringing us just what we need. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Queen JW.
You're welcome.
I thank you for your acknowledgement and your support.
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. God is good.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Anyone else? Does anyone have any comment or observation on Dr. Benny's presentation on data loss of data? Brother Mamadou, oh, welcome. You're in the house. Please, over to you.
Yes, Dr. Sister Debbie. Sorry, you can't.
You're breaking up. We can't even hear you. We hear 1 out of 6 words. Brother Mamadou, we cannot hear you at all. I don't think it's my computer. It must be coming from your end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I said, sorry you can't see me because I'm eating my rice and tula. So, first of all, good evening to you all. And I just want to express my thanks and appreciation to Brother T, for giving us the structure of our companies, our individual companies, because those structures he just laid out are the ones we need to set up our businesses, And for Dr. Benny, thank you very much for giving us the guidance and the protection as to how we all should do to protect our businesses. Because, as you all know, all of us have to be employers. So for Brother T, he laid that to us tonight. Those people that we need to hire to run our businesses. And for Dr. Benny, by giving us what we need to be guided as to how to protect our information and our customers' information, because just like the example he mentioned about that's how we are going to be. So thank you for your guidance. And you all in this moment, thank you for your attention and thank you for tolerance. God bless.
Thank you, Brother Mamudu, the handsome man. God bless you too. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing as well.
You're welcome. So I'm continuing my rising to learn. Thank you.
Bon appetit. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you so much. Enjoy your dinner to everyone who is having their dinner too now.
You're welcome.
Rightfully earn it. So we'll see you again very soon, Brother Mamadou.
Yes.
Does anyone else have any observation, any comment or remark for Dr. Benny? All that is well is well. Engineer Mike, welcome. Mama Rosalie, welcome. If you're still in the house, want to say a few words before we move forward?
I'm still in the house, Sister Debbie. How you guys doing?
Fine, thank you. Welcome. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm fine, darling. Yeah, my remark is not about what Dr. Benny said. It's about the last session, because since
the mindset.
No, not even the mindset. After the mindset, we said a lot of things about the water, the drinking water, and everything. And since then, I've been taking my shower with cold water.
Oh, Sister Rosalie, that was last Thursday's presentation by Queen JW, and she's on the healthy thing every Thursday. So yes, I remember. I attempted it on Sunday, and I tell you, I came out and I had a drink of warm water because my intestines were freezing. I tried. I did try, sis. I cannot pretend. I tried. It didn't work for me. So I just said, Lord, just help me to be healthy in other ways than this one.
Oh. No, I'm trying it every day when I'm on the shower. My mind just remind me. So then I start diluting water, cold. Now it's freezing. And then I just stand there. Enjoy. And then like for 5 minutes after that, I say, Rosalie, you did it.
Wow.
Yes, it's a good thing. We should try. And I remember, Sister Debbie, I remember my father, before my father passed away, my father never used hot water. No matter cold it is, my father, he was taking his shower with the cold water. He never used warm water or hot water, no, to take shower. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I was like, in that meeting, they were talking to me, they were like, wow. I saw my father again. I was like, wow. So he was right to be taking shower with cold water. Thank you so much. We pick one another. We pick every day. We learn every day. Yeah.
Absolutely, sis. We do. And we're so honored and blessed because Unpassive has brought us together. We have all this hidden talent in us, and Unpassive has got it all. And every forum has unique gifts that we have not been able to successfully tap into them.
That's
And
true.
slowly but surely, we are doing that. And with time, I mean, the last couple of years, we have gone really far into knowing who you can tap into to get what. So it's quite a blessing.
That's
So
true.
thank you for your observation. Your father did the right thing. And I'm glad that Queen JW's presentation was able to remind you of what you grew up seeing and now you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's better late than never.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Every day. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sis, for always coming to join and empower each and every one of us here and other forums. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome too.
Queen
I'm not
Rosalind. Now, I just want to thank Queen Rosalind. Now you guys know the importance of webinars. That when you come and attend webinars, you learn Just something small.
Yeah.
You learn. But people don't understand. What they want is they just want to complain. Why is Mr. Ash not giving us money? You see what I mean? No, I'm serious. I thank you so much, Queen Rosalind, for coming.
You're welcome.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Dr. B, she, like all of us, we learn every webinar is something new. I don't think, even from Brother Ferguson's presentation, every day it's something new that the first time he presented, it was so different. Last week he had something uniquely different, and today it's like a new presentation altogether. So yeah, if you have time, it's always good to sign in. You don't have to put your camera on, you just have it in the background, you pick something new, and that's what a lot of people are doing. So thank you for everyone who has been watching, and I'm going to call on our brother Tim to give his final words, and then Dr. B will give her final words. If he is still in the house, Brother Tim, if you're still in the house, give us your final words, please. I'm not seeing him. Dr. Benny, do you see him? No, I'm not seeing him. Okay, Dr. Benny, please go ahead and give us your final thoughts, and we'll move to the next segment of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank each and everyone coming here. When it comes to this data loss, as we all know, it is really a serious risk for businesses like on passive. That is why we are here. Not only on passive, you have the federal government, state government, financial institution, health industry as well, and any other companies of all sizes, little, big, it does not matter. Today, data is the basic fuel of business, with companies relying on digital services, e-commerce, and cloud storage. Now, when it comes to our backups are the key to recovering from data loss, ensuring that an organization has at least one additional recent copy of a vital data to ensure that backups are safe. Offsite backups are recommended to protect them from the threat that takes place around the data center. Copies kept out of reach may be more difficult to access later on, but it provides an extra layer of protection. Now, when it comes to the cloud, because nowadays everything is on cloud, right? Or should I say 90% of the companies now, they are working or they're trying to protect or to keep their data on cloud. So the cloud data or cloud backups can be accessed with relative ease following the data loss, but organizations should vet a cloud provider to ensure that data will be protected and retrievable, right? Performing a frequent backup and recovery, yes, it can help to make sure that the data is properly backed up, formatted, and it can be accessed as quickly as necessary. Again, once the cause of data loss are identified, you can easily find out the method of recovering those data. We do have specialists out there who will always recommend following the security rules while using what? Devices or storing data for or any organization. So it is wise. It is really wise to follow the rules and to prevent data loss within or within any organization all over the globe. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, thank you too, Dr. B. Thank you. We appreciate that so much. And we look forward to another session coming up. At this stage, I'm going to say thank you to all our viewers who are listening to us on YouTube and here live, and who will be listening to us in the future. And to remind everyone that we do have this platform here every Tuesday and Thursday. And on Mondays, we have the Mindset with Queen Miriam. Mindset Mondays is that program at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Mondays with Queen Miriam. Tuesdays and Thursdays is Deep Dive. On Wednesdays, we have Julie Pierre Empowering Humanity at 8 p.m. EDT. And on Thursdays, in the mornings, we have Old Passion Malaysia, Singapore at 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time before we come back here on Deep Dive. And on a daily basis, including Fridays, on a daily basis, we have One Global Movement with Yvonne Mundi. And also on Sundays, we have the Dream Team, Unfailingly Rain or Shine. All these forums are running. And Dream Team is 12:45 Eastern Daylight Time. So we count on you to join in any of those platforms, depending on your availability. So thank you once more, and we appreciate you.
Oh, hold on, Queen Debbie. I just want to read something from Queen Nancy, which I know that I think is good, it's important, as well as Brother Momodu, despite the fact that he came out and something happened that he couldn't talk very well because of the something, I don't know what happened with his internet. So Queen Nancy says, she appreciated Brother Timothy, as well as you nail it, Dr. B. I am always amazed to listen to your presentation because I learn a lot from you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge to us. Brother Mumudu said, Queen Dr. Benny and Brother Timothy, for your outstanding presentation, very educative, informative, and inspirational. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.